Okay, so give me a second to test the audio. So what I'm doing here is I'm using this exact same book, except it's in PDF form. The reason I decided to do this way is I can write here on this. So chapter 7 is internal loads. Okay, so for example, say you have a beam like this, and you want to find out if any part of it starts breaking or tearing or anything. What you want to do is you want to look at the internal loads in there. That will give you ample evidence or information so you can tell whether the beam is going to hold the weight. But the way you do that is pretty simple. Okay, so what he's done here is he's taken this section of the beam and put it right there. He's taken the right section and put it right here. However, in a free body diagram of this section, you will need to know the loads that the wall is placing back on here. Obviously, the wall is going to produce some type of shear, which we'll find out later. It'll be used, that kind of term. And we'll have some sort of moment to offset the fact that these forces are way out here to the right. And we're going to have, there's a component of this force that goes this way, so it's pushing on the beam, so the wall is going to have to push back here. Now, right now, he calls this AX, AY, and M, indicating that these are the loads at the wall A, so we won't even put those there or label them. But then you have the internal load. This slice right here exists both on this drawing and on that drawing. So, of course, you're not physically doing this, but you are mentally doing this. This is what's commonly called the shear. This is the normal, and this is the moment. So there are three different types of loads that can be put on either end of here. Turns out, as expected, these are equal and opposite. These are equal and opposite. And these are equal and opposite. So the question is, what are they? And he's repeated the drawing. He talks about it a little bit through here. And he talks about each of these terms. There's what's commonly called a shearing force, a normal force, and a bending one. Then he talks about the fact that you actually could have multiple shearing, a shear across here and a shear across here. You could have a bending moment here and a bending moment here. Now this one, okay, and here's your normal force, but you can have another bending moment or a torsional moment, basically torquing this thing like that. Now this part right here is very, very important, and it will become more important when you enter mechanics and materials, and that is the sign, positive normal force. So positive normal force is a force like that. The positive shear sometimes is a part that a lot of people forget, including myself, so I will refer back to this one. And it is this way. So one way of thinking of it, there's two or three different ways you could think of it. Positive means that that's the case. The other is that on, okay, so if you look at it on a positive face, it's going in a negative direction. Positive face and negative face imply a coordinate system like that. So the same thing here. It's going to the left, and this is going up. So that's a negative direction and a positive direction. I've heard people do this and say, if you multiply the two directions, you're always going to get a negative. And that's a way of remembering only. That's all it is. Or you could just memorize this. All you'd have to do is memorize one of these. Say on the right end of the beam, it goes down. So, because if you slice it, that means opposite equal and opposite. On the left end of the beam, it has to go up. So you could say to yourself, what's a positive shear? Just think to yourself, here we go with the beam, is a positive shear. And so that's one way to remember it. There are many different ways. Each person can adjust their thinking to what's best for them. Positive moment is an easy thing to remember. You could start talking like this, or you can realize this is the right side of the beam. These are essentially the same. And the left side of the beam, or a section of the beam. And if you had these two moments and you twisted them enough, you would get the beam to bend down. And I've heard people say it would hold water. You know, that's a method of remembering, but it basically works for a lot of people. So again, we'll refer back to these. They're very important when we get into mechanics of materials, which that's not with me, that's with someone else. So here we go. Let's start with this particular I guess it was an example. I don't know. It wasn't determined or said as an example, but obviously it is an example. First thing you got to do, you got to figure out the support reaction. Okay, this one's pretty easy because you sum the forces in the x equals 0, and you don't have one because they have nothing that's pushing you. Then I got to, say you want to sum the moments about D, and this is something that, or maybe let me do it about A first. A equaling 0. I do my standard that way, being positive. So I'll start here. This goes that way about A. So it's R. How about D? How about dy? 9. Wait. 9 times dy. Then I have this moment all by itself, and it is going, in the same direction as that. So it's positive plus 9. And I'm not going to worry about it. Everything's going to be listed in kilonewtons. And then minus 6 rolling this way. 6 times 3 meters across. And that's how you find dy. Now, the reason I did about dy first is because this is often forgotten in the sum of the moments equation. Think about this. As I increase this more and more and more, eventually this will carry all of this load plus extra load. And if you made this super high, you would find that it's going to try to lift this end of the beam off the ground, and you're going to have to hold it down. I don't think that's the case here, but basically if you look at this, he did some moments about D first. Okay, notice we had to include this. The reason I didn't do it about D is that I wanted to get away from this concept of thinking about where this is located. As we talked about in a couple, something like that, you can twist right here. You can take this thing and move it anywhere. It's not going to change its couple value. That's weird. Oh, there we go. So it will not change the value of the couple. Matter of fact, you can move it up here. You can move it anywhere. A couple remains a couple no matter where you put it. So, okay, hang on. I don't know what I'm looking at. Okay. So this 9 can be put anywhere. So you get AY. Oh, then he goes through and does, okay. Well, that's good. Okay, so what he's doing here is this. After he finds this, sorry for the delay. It should be going away any second. There we go. Go away. There we go. So there's your A, there's your D. Okay. What he does he draw it? Oh, he does. Okay. So what he's doing for this is he found the AY. Why? Because he's only interested in looking to the left. If you look to the left, you don't need to know these dx and dys to do the internal loads. So what he's done is he said to himself, I'm going to find this one, and I'm going to slice the beam and work on this portion. Somebody else could work on that portion, and that person would have to find dx and dy. They should get the same exact solution as the person that works on the left hand. So here you go. You look at this, you've sliced it. He has sliced it at B. Notice that B is slightly to the left of this 6 kilonewton load. So it is not drawn here. But when you pick up C, it is drawn. Okay. So if you look at segment AB, you'll write down your 3 equations. Old standard equations. And from those standard equations, you'll get your 3 unknowns. This, and this. There's never more than 3 unknowns. So it's a pretty standard way of doing things. Then what we do is we do segment AC. The only difference between AC and AB is the 6 kilonewton load is sitting here. So consequently, believe it or not, the only thing that changes is that. If you really stop and think about it, this part actually doesn't change. And the reason being is because B and C are incrementally very close together. So the distance between these two is very, very small, meaning that when you go to sum the moments, notice what he's done here. He has the moment of 3 times 5 kilonewton. And he has the moment of 3 times 5 kilonewton. Well, actually, this is actually 3 plus some small delta times 5. But if that is very, 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 very small, then you can just write it down like that, and you're getting about the same moment on both ends. So here's another example. You have a cantilevered beam sitting here. When you label something in the that's kind of giving you an indication that that's where he's going to want you to split it. Determine the normal and shear force of the bending moment at C. Now, again, you can take this end of the beam and work with it, or you can take that end of the beam. If you take this end you must determine the load here and the moment here, or so I'll say moment A, shear at A, and this normal force at A. You're going to have to determine this. But if you take this right in, which is what he's doing, you don't. So it's your choice of which one. You can work easy or hard. You can have a lot of stuff in front of you over here, or not so much over here. So when you start with looking at these problems, you need to really think about which end, how you want to slice it, which end do you want to take. So you do a free body diagram, and so you have a, it is true, that you have there's an easier way. It is true you have that. But and these are being equal, I would venture to say this is going to be 600 newtons per meter here at that midpoint. That's what he has. So then what he does is he says, okay, what's the area under this diagram? Not the area under that diagram, but the area here. The area is 600 times 1.5, the width of that thing, and then half of it, because this part up here doesn't exist. So then we're sitting here. You say WC, okay, that is, I think I got it. Okay. Now, he should redraw this, but he does not. Oh, no. Take it back. I'm sorry. He does. Okay. I'm wrong there. So, what he's redrawing is he puts this in a dotted line sense, and he says that this is going to be the equivalent diagram. So, therefore, if you sum the forces in Y, this VC only has to offset that, and I don't know the value of that, but whatever 1.5 times that divided by 2 is. And so here you go. 1.5 times that divided by 2 gives you the VC of 450. Now your moment will be, 1.5 times this value, which I think is 450 still. And then your moment is actually going to have to be going the other direction. And then it's 225. Now, this is very, very important. Instead of you, I know in the past, a minus sign means you assumed it the wrong way. And this is true of this case. But instead of you going back and flipping your direction, rest assured, I think it would be very important for you to maintain this negative sign throughout. And if VC ended up being negative, you need to maintain its negative sign. Because what you find out in mechanics of materials is that that's very important. The sign is very important. Okay, so it is true. Negative sign means that. But don't go back and flip it now. Keep it the way it is and just keep the negative sign. So all these problems look the same. This one's a little bit different in that it has a bar stuck down here. And in this bar, it's giving you the direction. And all that does is that tells you what you can work this force out right here. At this point, it doesn't look very good, but that's a pin, and this is a pin, so you could sum moments about this point, and you can get the load here, C, CY. There is going to be a component in
Multi-data connection loss.
CX that's going to go up along this line. And then you're going to have
multi-data connection reestablished.
Sorry about that. I'm going to cut the volume off over here. Or oh yeah, okay. Hang on. I'll be back over in a second. Function. There we go. So let me get back to it here. So I forgot where I was. But in any case, in this particular case, you've got two possibilities. One person can work on this. The other person can work on this. Why? Because he's obviously interested in what's the internal load there at B. And guess what? You're both going to work and try to get those answers. They should be the same, but opposite signs. So he starts with AB. Which one's AB? He starts with this one. And then he gets this. No, as an exercise, try the same results using BC. Honestly, I would have used BC to begin with. Here's why. Because if I would have come in here and summed the moments about A, that would have immediately determined this. If you notice, when you sum moments about A, you will find that. If I don't care what these are, then I can work on this right diagram and you will get the same answers over here. But the key is I didn't have to find this. If I didn't have to find these two, then there's less of a chance of me making a calculator error. Okay, and I know what happened. Okay. Now, here's our thing with we got a 2/4 member. I mean, this is a simple, wish the picture quality was a little bit better. But you gotta, here, I'll do it like this. If you look at this, it's a pin on either end, either at B and at C. I'm sorry, at A and at C. At A and at C. It can only, on this load, it can only be pulling it or pushing it. And that gives you an indication. So yeah, hang on a second. All right, I'm back with you. Okay, so, oh, here, cool. He's done I don't know what this is. Oh, it's a sign. That's what it is. It's a sign out here. Has this. He went in and used the actual moment cross product equation. Determine the moment. Actually, determine it kind of comes off of a. This is weird because what is the J of 3? K is 5.25. But then design codes indicate the expected uniform wind load to occur in the area where it is located 900 pascals. So it's kind of hard to tell, but this is pushing perpendicular. So if you look above this sign, say this is the post. The sign sits out here like this. So this is the sign. The air pushes on it and twists it around its post like that. So that's why you have an extra moment here. So ordinarily, you would not have that extra term. Oh, and that's it. That's all. Okay. All right. So let's see. We can pick up a problem if we will. Let's see. Let's just pick up just out of the. Just pick up this one. Let's go back because I have to figure out what that P is 8 kilonewtons. So whatever this object is, beam, whatever you want to call it, I could actually, here, let me change colors here. Let me also make it oversized so here. So I'm just going to guess these directions. X. Guess that. A, Y. There's only going to be a BX here. So if the first thing I do is sum the moments about A, I'll eliminate those two. They're gone. And then 0 equals 2. This P goes this way, which is a positive way. And it's A times this plus that plus that. So that's, let's say those two together is 1.5 and 1.75 is 2.25, I think. So 2.25. If I'm wrong, you can catch me and fix it. I'll leave that up to you. So then I've got this force this way about A, and that's BX. And how far is it? 0.6, and then this has a radius up here. So 0.5 and 0.1 is that. So there you would get BX equals to a number. Actually, I can use my A, 2.25. So the 0.6. Let me just see. I've been using this. I'm not willing to calculate them anymore. So it says 30. So there you go. So now you've got another choice. Let's see. Sum of forces in the x direction, make that positive, equals 0, equals 2. I got 30 here. I got minus AX. So that's 30. So this will be 30. This will be 30. Now, how do I find the AY? To me, the simplest thing to do is sum of forces in the y. You can do other things. Equals 0 equals 2. That's going down. Minus A plus. That's going up. Let's say y. So that's got to be equal to 8. So move all that to the side because now I found kind of what I needed. Next, you do this. Okay, that's a rope which is tied on this pulley. So effectively, let's see, can I just copy it off of here or off of here? And we'll do a different mode. Okay. I don't know what the the most efficient thing to do is, okay, so if I just clip that, and I clip this, and I'm going to do something interesting, I'm going to clip that. So now I'm going to go back over to here, and I'm going to drop it. Now, what this is, I think that was 30. So this is 30. That's 30. And that's 30. So, oh, well, yeah, okay. Well, which one do I want to do? Okay, hang on. Then 8 and 30. 8. So, shoot, I should have clipped this end over here as well. And 30. And, okay. So now I can choose. Okay, so obviously, let me look back at what he determined the normal force in the moment, the section passing through point C. So he's interested in this. Okay, there are two ways to do this. One is taking this thing, taking it like this, taking this portion. The other one is taking all of this. Actually, I meant to accentuate the other one. So in other words, I could take this, or I could take all of this. You do what you want, but I'm going to take the right. So what I'm going to do, I'm yet again, I'm going to go back to the picture and the clippy thing. And, oh no, I got to fix this over here. Okay, let's go back. Clip it again, new. And so what I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to look at. And go back here. You're free to do the other one if you want to. I'm not going to. So here's what I got. Got 30. And I got 8. Now remember, positive shear. This is positive shear. So I always think cantilever going down, positive shear. Positive shear. Positive moment. Positive normal. So I'll just call it N, V, and M. Okay. So whatever you want to do, sum of forces in the X gets you N is equal to, it gets you N is equal to 30. Sum the forces in the Y will get you V. This is N. This is V. Sorry. V is equal to minus 8. And then sum of the forces, sum of the moments about C. Now, the best thing to do is about the place you're looking for the moment at. That's what I'm kind of thinking. That would tell you your moment is equal to, the only thing that produces a moment here is that 8 over 0.75 meters. So 8 times 0.75. And we're done. Just like that, you found the internal load. If you wanted to do the other one, let me show you what you would have to do. Here, we'll just create the snippet off of, oh no, I hit the wrong button. I don't want to do that. I'll do this one. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do off of the other one. Okay, so now I'll go down here. Say drop it, maybe right there. Okay, so here's my normal. There's a positive shear, positive down on the right, and then a positive moment. Let me make sure I copy those correctly. Now, so if you want to, we'll just do at least sum of the forces in the X direction equals 0. Gives you, okay, the component of the X direction going this way is the same as the component of going X direction going this way. So the X direction of these two just cancel out. Only thing you get left is that 30. Tells you that n equal to 30. Because here's the only other x. That's not x. The x here cancels that x. The only thing you get n is equal to 30. Same thing. Do we want to do shear? Well, sure. Why not? Okay, this was 8, I think. Okay. Okay, let's do this one official. 8. Okay, wait. Minus 8. Minus 8. Because it's going down. Okay, here we go. Internal this and this offset each other. And I got this V going that way. Now, is V equal to minus 8 up here? I do not remember. And in fact, it is. Now, see, we'll go ahead and I'm reluctant to do this, but I don't really want to, but I'm going to do it anyway. Moment. I'm going to have to go through this. This is extra work. And some of the moments in all these cases about in this C, about this is actually C. So I got to break all this down. Do I want to? No, I don't. Let's see. This is trying to think. I'm going to bring up a calculator real quick. All right. So, hang on a second. Okay, hang on. I'm trying to see if that's a sheet. I don't think it is. Well, okay. So I got to remember this, and you got to remember that. So the length of that rope there is equal to the square root 0.75 squared plus 0.5 squared. And I'll let this calculator thing do it for me. That's the reason I brought that up that way. See if it recognizes it. Oh, it did. Okay, so that's 0.90138. That's enough for me. So now I've got to break this thing apart here. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to break this thing apart. I'm going to find the component. Is this the picture I'm working off of? No, here's the picture I'm working off of. Let's not work off this one. Let's work off of this one. So I am going to here. I'm going to find the component of the force going this way and the component going that way. Guess what? This component right here is going to be the same as that. And this component, whoops, it's going right here, going to be the same as that. But I still got to do it. Now, let's look at one of these, namely the bottom left one. I've got a 30. This way. I've got a question mark that way and a question mark that way. But I have a triangle. Okay, 30 is going to be larger than these other numbers. Here's what I mean. 0.90 1388. I think I still have that on my phone. So let's say 0.90188, 0.5.75. So if I want to know this length, I take 30, and I multiply it times 0.75 over 0.90138 equals to, you know what, if I made this like this, a little bigger, eight. I'm going to double check that last number. Yeah. 84.9615. What is the other one? Believe it or not, here's what I'll do. Copy, and then paste, and then I'll do a 0.5 over the top of that. That's going to equal to, I'm doing that so I can take a picture of it. See if it got it. You take photos. 16.641. Okay. Now, if you're going to sum the moments about this point, you're going to basically say the moment, which is this moment, and then you're going to have to take the x component this way minus this. Okay, what was that? 24.96. 24.9615. That's going to be an equivalent moment that way, which will be minus 30 minus 24.9615. Moment arm is this plus that, 0.6. Then you're going to have a moment produced by this downward force. That downward force would be the 16. That downward force will produce the moment this way in the positive direction, and it will be, okay, it will come down. Its moment arm will be 0.75. It will be 16.641, and then you're going to have a moment not from this one, but from this one, and that one will be 16.641, but you're going to have an 8 going down. So what you're going to have is an 8 point something going up and in this way, and that's going to be a minus, and its moment arm is going to be 1.5, and it's going to be 8.641, and I wonder how well I wrote this, and would it be calculatable using that photo thing if I touched up some stuff here. I have no guarantee I'm going to be right, but if I'm not right, I'm going to just go on and let you figure out how to make it right. I'm going to take a picture in that whole thing, see if at first it will fit on there, which it doesn't look like it will, so I'm going to have to do it a segment at a time. So what I'm going to do is say moment here minus 150.048. And I have to say plus. Make sure I type that in right. Ooh, no, that is incorrect. It sees that as a divide by symbol, and that is a 1. Let's see if we can fix that. I'm going to have to go in a second. Yeah, 30.231 plus what? Oh, plus, okay, it sees what I got there. It's partly minus 1, 2, it's 3.48075. And then this last bit, it's a lot of work. Given the fact that this is the case, there's probably an error that I made along the way. And if I did, I'm just going to accept it and let you fix it. And as I go through there, I get the moment of about equal to minus 30.7175. I think we've got two different moments. And I'm going to let you figure out what the difference between that is. But I don't have the patience to go through it right now, plus I don't have the time. So I'm going to have to leave us with that and say, this is exactly why I would never do it that way, is the number of calculations you have to do on this left end is enormous compared to what you have to do on the right end.